Rome, Italy's capital, is a sprawling cosmopolitan city with nearly 3,000 years of outstanding architecture and culture on display. Ancient ruins such as Roman Forum and the Colosseum evoke the power of former Roman Empire. Vatican City, headquarters of Roman Catholic Church, boasts St. Peter's Basilica and the Vatican Museums, which house masterpieces such as Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel frescoes. Colosseum in Rome is 186 meter by 156 meter, oval shaped. The outer wall is 57 meter high. This place, which was initially water body, is near the palace of Nero, and Nero installed a colossal statue of himself over here, which later on was demolished by subsequent emperors. This Colosseum is near the Arch of Constantine, which is the arch built after one victory in one battle, and is considered to be the mother of Arch de Triomphe in Paris. Now, this Colosseum was used as amphitheater. Those days, in ancient times, the Roman emperors used to keep public in good uh, humor by different means of entertainment. And here in this amphitheater, there were fight of gladiators and many other shows. Now, distinctly there are three levels of this amphitheater. The lowest level is the level for emperors, imperial court, and high officials. The second level is for the aristocrats, uh, and the third level was for the public. Uh, there used to be one hypogeum, which is an arena with wooden floor 48 meters by 48 meters, which is covered with sand. And on this floor, there used to be the fight of the gladiators. Now, there is basement, and the two levels below, there are labyrinth of tunnels which leads to training rooms of gladiators, prisons, then cages for lions and tigers, and there are mechanisms to lift cages to
the Colosseum
arena.
has lots of holes. Well, not many on this side, but more on the other side. You see the holes in the stone? When the Colosseum was built, they would use big blocks of stone, and to keep the big blocks aligned, they were put inside iron rods. But when the Colosseum was closed and abandoned, the people started stealing the iron. Well, not many on this side, but more on the other side. You see the holes in the stone? When the Colosseum was built, they would use big blocks of stone. The people in the Pontiff state had to move to this area. It was a very small area, overcrowded, and the Jews didn't have many rights. So we still call it today.
The most important part of the city. This one. You want to get catered. Because don't get in ठेरो दाঁড়া হয়ে গেছে আমার হয়ে গেছে
Not many on this side, but more on the other side. You see the holes in the stone? When the Colosseum was built, they would use big blocks of stone.
The Pantheon temple, dedicated to Roman gods, mean everything divine, was built between 25 to 29 BC. It is a Roman monument with the greatest number of records, the best preserved, with the biggest brick dome in history of architecture, and is considered the forerunner of all modern places of worship. It is the most copied and imitated of all ancient works. Michelangelo felt that it was the work of angels, not men. In 80 AD, it was rebuilt after a fire. 30 years later, it was hit by lightning and again caught fire. It was then rebuilt in its present shape by Emperor. These are the ruins of the
In front of
Domus
us at Modern
Augustana
Palace,
on
this is the
Palestine,
FAO Palace, Food and Agriculture.
Palatine Hill, uh, one of the 7 hills on which ancient Rome was
1st
built.
century AD by the Emperor Domitian. All the emperors
Hippodromes
after
were
Domitian's
area
lived
for
on top of
exercising
that
horses
palace. And
or
after the fall of the
open
Roman
areas
Empire,
for foot races.
even some popes
Areas for
lived in
chariot
that
race
palace.
might be near
1st
these
century
structures
AD by
or
the
maybe
Emperor
below.
Domitian. All the
Uh,
emperors after Domitian
excavation is
lived
still going
on
on.
top of that palace. And after the fall of the Roman Empire, even some popes lived in that palace. With our dark side, but also for some special events. Last summer in this valley there was a Rolling Stones concert. Rolling Stones. Yeah, figure Rolling Stones. In front of us at Modern Palace, this is the FAO Palace, Food and Agriculture. With our dark side, but also for some special events. Last summer in this valley there was a Rolling Stones concert. Rolling Stones. Yeah, figure Rolling Stones. In front of us at Modern Palace, this is the FAO Palace, Food and Agriculture Association of Ancient Rome, and they organize also the training of the army, of the Roman army. So the main square of the city. The valley between the Aventine on the right and the Palatine Hill on the left is where there was built the largest place for entertainment in Rome. That was called the Circus Maximus. Circus Maximus was the stadium for the chariot races, had a capacity of 250,000 people. At the same time, the chariots went around the central axis of the circus for 7 times.
350.
And there were 4 teams of chariots: the blue, the white, the red, and the green team. The circus is still completely underground. The excavations were brought up only there at the end in front of us. You see on the left, those are the walls of the circus. They're still completely underground. Of course, with no seats. The seats were either made of wood or made of marble. The wood hasn't been preserved, the marble has been recycled. So we only have the walls, as well as the Colosseum. There's not much left of the Colosseum. We use this valley for jogging or walking with our dogs, but also for some special events. Last summer in this valley there was the Rolling Stones concert, for instance. Rolling Stones.
Roman Forum, which is column still standing tall or lying tumbled on the ground.
In
Its
front of us,
triumphal arches and its remains of once important buildings are still impressive. For more than 1,000 years, the might of Rome, the magnificence of Roman art, and the Roman law and religion found expression here and radiated from this center throughout Europe and beyond. The first buildings here were temples, followed by public buildings, churches, and fortresses were built amid the ancient remains. And the area served as a quarry of building stone and cow pasture until 18th and 19th century excavations uncovered the forum from a layer of dirt and rubble as deep as 15 meters. The Altare della Patria, or Altar of the Fatherland, also known as Tu Vittoriano, is a monument built in honor of Victor Emmanuel II of Italy, the first king of the unified Italy. It occupies a site between Piazza Venezia and the Capitoline Hill. The Vitriano features stairways, fountains, an equestrian statue of Victor Emmanuel, and 2 statues of goddess riding on quadriga. The structure is 135 meter wide and 70 meter high. The quadrigates and winged victories are included. The height reaches 81 meters. It has a total area of 17,000 square meters. The base of the structure houses the Museum of Italian Unification. In 2007, a panoramic elevator was added to the structure, allowing the visitors to ride to the roof for 360 view of Rome.
On the right side, look, that's the best preserved part of the Colosseum. At the end of the street, unfortunately, we cannot drive at the end of the street, on this street. You see the ruins of the Roman Forum here. Okay, those columns, Roman columns, okay? The tomb of the unknown soldier. So since 1921, we call this the altar of fatherland. You see the king on his horse. You see the lady, the statue of the golden background that represents the goddess Rome. Underneath the goddess Rome, the soldiers as the eternal flame on the tomb of the unknown soldier. On the right side, look, that's the best preserved part of the Colosseum. At the end of the street, unfortunately, we cannot drive at the end of the street, on this street. You see the ruins of the Roman Forum here. Okay, those columns, Roman columns, okay? The tomb of the unknown soldier. So since 1921, we call this the altar of fatherland. You see the king on his horse. You see the lady, the statue of the golden background that represents the goddess Rome. Underneath the goddess Rome, the soldiers as the eternal flame on the tomb of the unknown soldier. On the right side, look, that's the best preserved part of the Colosseum. At the end of the street, unfortunately, we cannot drive at the end of the street, on this street. You see the ruins of the Roman Forum here. Okay, those columns, Roman columns, okay? Female characters representing the regions Italy is divided in. In this square lived and died Michelangelo. Well, of course, at his time was completely different. The palace that you see on the right side, where it's written Assicurazioni Generali, was built in the 20th century. In the place where there was the house where lived and died Michelangelo. Now, if you look to the right side, now, you see the street straight going to People's Square.
Yeah.
And the palace with the green balcony is called Bonaparte Palace. There lived and died Napoleon's mother.
Napoleon's
She
mother.
was Italian.
The Spanish steps are a set of steps for climbing a steep slope, having 133 steps between the base and the piazza, dominated by the church at the top. The fountain at the junction of three roads marks the terminal point, one of the aqueducts that supplied water to ancient Rome. In 19 BC, supposedly with the help of a virgin, Roman technicians located a source of pure water some 13 kilometers away from the city. This aqua virgo led the water into the baths of Rome for more than 400 years. The baths of Caracalla were the second largest ancient Rome public baths. Built between AD 212 and 217, they would have had to install over 2,000 tons of material every day for 6 years in order to complete it in time. Records show that the idea for the baths were drawn up by the emperor himself. Vatican City is the smallest country in the world. Encircled by a 2-mile border with Italy, Vatican City is an independent city-state that covers just over 100 acres, population 833, all bachelors. Vatican City is governed as an absolute monarchy with the Pope at its head. The Vatican mints its own euros, prints its own stamps, issues passports and license plates, operates media outlets, and has its own flag and anthem. No taxation. Earnings from tourism is the Vatican's only revenue. Italy was unified in 1870 as a secular country, but popes refused to recognize the authority of the Kingdom of Italy, and the Vatican remained beyond Italian national control. Pope Pius IX proclaimed himself a prisoner of the Vatican. In 1929, Mussolini, the head of Italian government, signed the treaty on behalf of King Victor Emmanuel III, allowing Vatican to remain as a separate country. The Swiss Guard's role in Vatican City is strictly to protect the safety of the
I will
faith.
show you when we get to the square where it is.
There's us. No.
He's resting. No. He gives the blessing on Wednesday and Sunday.
And very lives in this palace. Very lives.
She'll show us.
I will show you when we
But
get
they won't break.
No, hurry up. Hurry up. Sorry.
And the gallery was
Sistine Chapel takes its name from Pope Sixtus IV, who ruled between 1477 to 1480. Sistine Chapel is the most famous building in the Vatican City after St. Peter's Basilica. It is a part of Pope's official residence, that means Apostolic Palace. Fresco by Raphael, Bernini, Botticelli and others adorn the walls. On the ceiling, one of the great masterpieces in the history of art, Michelangelo's 16th century depiction of scenes from Book of Genesis, from creation to story of Noah, covering nearly 12,000 square feet. Michelangelo started work in July 1508 and unveiled it in October 1512. He painted first fresco of Last Judgment on the end altar wall of the Sistine Chapel between 1536 to 1541. He was 66 by that time. Michelangelo died at the age of 88. When a great fire leveled much of Rome in AD 64, Emperor Nero, seeking to shift blame from himself, accused the Christians of starting the blaze. He executed them by burning them. At the stake, tearing them apart with wild beasts and crucifying them. Among those crucified was St. Peter, disciple of Jesus Christ, leader of apostles, and the first bishop of Rome, who was supposedly buried in a shallow grave on Vatican Hill. By the 4th century, and official recognition of the Christian religion in Rome, Emperor Constantine began construction of the original basilica atop the ancient burial ground, with what was believed to be the tomb of St. Peter at its center. The present basilica, built starting in the 1500s, sits over a maze of catacombs and St. Peter's suspected grave.
So we are seeing today Michelangelo in 3 of his specialties. He was first of all a sculptor. This sculpture was made by Michelangelo.
La Pietà.
La Pietà, exactly. We will
This
see
was
his
the
work
first
as an
sculpture.
architect. The
When the great fire
architect,
leveled
he decides
much
St.
of Rome
Peter's
in
Square.
AD 64,
And we have
Emperor
seen him
Nero,
as a painter
seeking
in the
shift
Sistine
blame
Chapel.
from himself, accused the Christians of
The city
starting
and
a
the
blaze.
So,
He executed them by burning
so
them
everybody
at
come
the stake, tearing them apart with wild beasts and crucifying them. And those crucified was St. Peter, disciple of Jesus Christ,
and
leader
it
of
represents the Virgin Mary
apostles,
crying
and
over the
the
dead
first
body of
bishop of Rome,
Jesus.
who was supposedly
Yes,
buried
the white
in
marble
a shallow grave on Vatican
completely
Hill.
white
In the
marble,
4th century,
shiny Carrara marble.
He likes like all
and
the marbles, not white
official
marbles.
recognition of the Christian
Which one is
religion
the
in
Virgin
Rome,
Mary?
Emperor
That
Constantine began
lady
construction
No,
of the
no,
original basilica
Michelangelo
atop
made
the
it
ancient
like
burial ground,
four, yes,
what
That is La
was
Pietà, no?
believed
La
to be the
Pietà.
tomb of St.
The
Peter at
statue
its
you see
center.
here is one
The
of the
present
4
basilica, built
Pietà
starting in the
Michelangelo has
1500s,
made. They are all
sits over
different. He
a
made
maze
4
of
with the same name and the same
catacombs
subject,
and St.
but they
Peter's
are all
suspected
different.
grave.
This is the earliest one he made. He made this statue when he was only 24 years old. Very young. But of course he was very proud of the statue. So the statue was in the ancient Basilica of St. Peter, the one still built by the Emperor Constantine. And time by time, Michelangelo was coming to the church to hear what visitors would say about his statue. He was very proud. One day he heard visitors of the church saying that this was a work by a different sculptor. I guess he had a heart attack. He came night time to sign the statue. On the breast of the Virgin Mary, you can see a diagonal band where Michelangelo wrote, Michelangelo Buonarroti from Florence, made it.
तुम्हारा फ्लैश ऑन माँ.
나도 너무 멀리서 있었거든. 내가 스태츄를
Hello, Mandarin.
Because we are in church, you have to cover your face. You have to cover the body of the church. Now look at the foot of the church. 17th. There, that's
Before face meditation, after.
Sorry?
Before face Before face
Before the first but our history has nothing to do with the French. So they're Spain, Italy, Turkey, France, Germany. What is England? England is underneath it, and was hidden on purpose. Now remember, Henry VIII. A Christian graveyard. Pagan city of the dead. He was buried there and also was built upon it. Almost 3 centuries later, the Emperor Constantine built the early church on the and then the new church started in 1506 because the old one was crumbling down. This new church was started in 1506, consecrated in 1626, and we still built. All right, so
There's a courtyard there. So
no, that's the square.
the square. What St. Peter's Square? What's the purpose there? What was the purpose of that square?
Let's talk about this. So you see several
Santa Maria di बोलने के लिए Santa Maria di Florida.
Pisa is an ancient city in central Italy, standing on River Arno just before it flows to Tyrrhenian Sea. It had invincible maritime power. People are wealthy and ingenious. They gathered much of beautiful things the Mediterranean could offer. It became capital of culture. It gave birth to illustrious names in every age. Galileo and mathematician Leonardo Fibonacci are only two of them. During 11th century, Pisa conquered Corsica, captured Palermo from Saracen pirates. Gold treasures taken from Saracens allowed Pisans to build cathedral and other monuments. Bell tower of the cathedral. Its construction began in 1173, took place in three stages in 177 years. Bell chamber was added in 1372. 5 years after its construction, when the building reached the third level, weak subsoil and poor foundation led to its sinking on the southern side. Construction was suspended for 100 years for the subsoil to stabilize. In 1272, to adjust the lean of the building, the upper levels were built with one side taller than the other. Seventh and final floor was added in 1319. Then the lean became 1 degree or 2.5 feet from vertical. In 2010, the lean was 4 degree. Tower stands at approximately 60 meter high, accommodates 7 main bells cast to the musical scale. There are 296 steps leading to the top of tower. In 2008, the engineers announced that the tower has stopped moving for the first time in history, and it will be stable for next 200 years. Galileo It is said that Galileo had dropped two cannonballs of different masses from the tower top to demonstrate that speed of descent is independent of mass. Hawkers in Pisa and in other places in Italy are from Bangladesh, selling on footpath umbrella toys, chains, locks, ready-made garments, etc. One of them working in a restaurant here told me that their community is very large here and all are very happy. What they are earning here in a month in Pisa is more than what they used to earn in Bangladesh in a year. Actually, this is due to the vacuum created by drop in population in Italy. Settlement in Milan or Milan started around 400 BC. Milan is the main industrial, commercial, and financial center of Italy and a global city. This city is a major world fashion and design capital. Milan Fashion Week and Milan Furniture Fair are global events. It hosted Universal Exposition Expo 2014.
वीडियो लेता है
Construction of this Duomo or cathedral began in 1386. It is the largest and most complex Gothic building in Italy. It is 157 meter long, area 11,700 square meter. In 1774, a golden 4.16 meter high statue of Madonna was placed on its pinnacle.